Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this, because today we're looking at something genuinely revolutionary. Imagine having a massive, highly capable, fully autonomous AI agent. But here's the kicker. It's not in the cloud, and it's definitely not gated behind some hefty monthly subscription fee. We are talking about an agent running continuously, completely locally, right on your own hardware. It takes high-level goals, breaks them down, and just executes them with literally zero reliance on an external server. The source material we're exploring today maps out exactly how to achieve this using the Hermes agent on AMD systems, so let's get into it. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, the autonomous AI era. Second, prepping your AMD hardware. Third, configuring LM Studio. Then, starting the local server, installing Hermes via WSL2, and finally, unleashing your local agent. We'll go from the what and why straight through the technical how. All right, Section 1, the autonomous AI era, beyond theory to real-world impact. We've all heard a ton of buzzwords lately, right? But agentic computing? That is a totally different ballgame from your standard chatbot. This quote, straight from our source, really sets the stakes here. Hermes Agent by Noose Research is a major step forward for local, autonomous AI agents. This isn't just an AI that answers a question and then sits there waiting for you to do the heavy lifting. No way. Hermes is designed to take a broad goal, break it down into a sequence of actionable steps, work through those steps dynamically, and actually drive execution. It's what happens when AI moves out of the theoretical chat box and starts doing actual real-world work for you. Now, to pull off this kind of sophisticated autonomy, you absolutely need serious hardware capability. Because these are continuous, parallel, multi-agent workloads, you really need some significant horsepower. Our source highlights systems powered by AMD Ryzen AI Max Plus processors or Radeon AI Pro graphics as the absolute perfect engines for this. They are literally built specifically for this entirely new category of always-on agent computers.
Moving on to Section 2, prepping your AMD hardware, getting the engine ready.
So before we even touch the AI software, we have to make sure the hardware foundation is perfectly tuned. If you're running an AMD Ryzen AI Max Plus processor, there's a critical, non-negotiable first step. You have to allocate enough memory for the massive AI model we're going to load. It's a super quick fix, though. Just right-click your desktop, open the AMD Software Adrenaline Edition, navigate over to Performance, and then Tuning. Find Variable Graphics Memory, set it to high, and just reboot your machine. Doing this ensures your local hardware won't choke when the agent starts firing on all cylinders. Next up, Section 3. Configuring LM Studio, your bridge to the agent. Okay, so Hermes runs best in a Linux environment, but, you're probably on Windows. Well, LM Studio is basically the magical bridge that solves this. It serves the large language model over your local area network, seamlessly crossing that Windows to Linux boundary. First things first, you'll download LM Studio. Once it's installed, just skip the initial prompts. Go ahead and check developer mode and search for the specific model the source recommends, which is the Qwen 3.635B A3B. It's a massive 35 billion parameter model, so hit download and just let it pull down that hefty file. All right, once it's downloaded, hit Ctrl+L in LM Studio to bring up the model selection. You're going to need to check Manually Choose Load Model Parameters, check Remember Settings, and check Show Advanced Settings. What you're basically doing here is telling LM Studio that you want total granular control over exactly how this 35 billion parameter behemoth gets loaded into your system's memory. And here are those exact parameters. Please, whatever you do not skip these. You want to set the context length to a massive 190,000. Set GPU offload to max so your AMD hardware is doing all the heavy lifting. Ensure flash attention is turned on for faster processing efficiency. Oh, and make absolutely sure Try mmap is unchecked. Otherwise, you might get memory mapping errors that could crash the whole load. Finally, just verify Remember Settings is still on. Honestly, these easily missed specifications, they're the difference between a lightning-fast autonomous agent and a complete system crash. Which brings us to Section 4. Starting the local server. Going live on the network. Now that LM Studio knows exactly how to load the model, we actually need to broadcast it so the Hermes agent can talk to it. Press Ctrl+2 to open the Developer tab in LM Studio, start the server, and click on Server Settings. The really vital toggle here is Serve on Local Network. You'll probably get a Windows permission prompt pop up here, just go ahead and allow it. Also, you'll want to uncheck Auto Unload Unused JIT Loaded Models and only keep last JIT loaded models. We want this server robust, stable, and always ready for Hermes, without any dynamically loaded models accidentally unloading themselves in the background.
Finally, click Load Model and select that Quen 35B model. All those advanced settings we entered earlier, they'll just auto-populate. Hit Load, go grab a coffee, and wait for the status to turn a beautiful green ready. Once it does, leave the LM Studio window open. The server is live, and your Windows ecosystem is perfectly prepped.
Section 5, installing Hermes via WSL2, crossing into the command line.
Okay, it's time to step out of the familiar Windows GUI and dive right into the terminal to set up the actual agent itself. You're going to need to open Windows PowerShell as an administrator. The command you want to type is wsl-install-d Ubuntu 24.04. What this does is install the Windows subsystem for Linux and spin up a pristine Ubuntu 24.04 environment right inside Windows. You'll set up a quick username and password, and just like that, boom, you have a local Linux machine ready to go.
Inside that brand new Ubuntu terminal, just run a quick sudo apt update and upgrade to make sure everything is current. Then you'll drop in this curl script. This command reaches directly out to Knowles Research's GitHub repository, pulls down the Hermes agent install script, and executes it automatically. It's an incredibly elegant one-liner that just handles the entire installation for you. As the installation wraps up, Hermes will actually launch a quick setup prompt right in the terminal, basically asking where it should get its AI brains from. Now, you'll notice the sheer number of cloud providers listed here, but since we're keeping this entirely local, just use your arrow keys to navigate down and select the custom endpoint option. Next, Hermes is going to ask for the API base URL. Remember that LM Studio server we left running over in Windows? Go grab the local server address from the LM Studio API usage section. Paste it into the Ubuntu terminal, but, and this is super critical, do not forget this, append /v1 to the very end of it. For the API key, just type LM Studio. Leave the context length blank so it auto-detects, and you can name the connection whatever you like. All right, the final stretch, Section 6, unleashing your local agent, the power of autonomy. All the threads are finally pulled together. The AMD hardware is prepped, the Windows server is hosting the model, and the Linux agent is completely wired up and ready to communicate. The final result? The Hermes agent initialized, sitting there at the command prompt just waiting for you to tell it what to do. Before you do, though, I really have to echo the legal disclaimer included in the AMD source material. Hermes is a highly autonomous AI. Giving it access to your systems means it might act in unpredictable ways with unforeseen outcomes. Honestly, this isn't a toy. It is a highly capable digital worker running directly on your machine. You are yielding genuine power here, so, exercise appropriate caution. Now, to make it even more powerful, you can actually give Hermes live web access by configuring a provider like the Brave Search API, and actually, you can literally just ask the Hermes agent to guide you through that setup process. Your local AI suddenly becomes totally web-aware. It can run live research, fact-find, and execute workflows that depend on real-time, up-to-date external information. It's like a real game-changer. And that brings us to the ultimate question. You now have a completely private, cost-free, incredibly sophisticated autonomous agent running continuously on your local AMD hardware. The whole shebang is complete. The only thing left to figure out is what workflow are you going to delegate to it first? I highly encourage you to check out the official Hermes agent documentation to see just how deep this rabbit hole really goes. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive in the explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.